Salvete omnes. This is Abbey Latin Liber Primus, Chapter 8. This is exercise B of Chapter 8. Welcome to your very first synopsis. You will be synopsizing for pretty much the rest of your Latin career, so learn to love it. A synopsis, which is Greek for a full or comprehensive overview, or an overlook, a review, a summary. It's basically a summary of a Latin's verb forms in a given person and number. So if I say I want a synopsis of the first person singular of amo, that means you're going to give me the first person singular of amo in the present, imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect tenses. So it's a synopsis, it's a summary. Because there are 6 forms for each tense, right? There are 3 numbers, there are 3 persons and 2 numbers. So there are 6 forms per tense. That's a lot of writing. To save yourself all that writing, so your little hands don't fall off, we do a synopsis. It's more comprehensive. We can do a better overview of what a verb's forms look like in a given person and number. So first and foremost, step 1, you have to know the verb's principal parts. If you don't know the correct principal parts, you're probably going to screw the whole thing up. For instance, if you think the principal parts of do, to give, are do, dare, davi, datus, and you write davi, D-A-V, dav, as the stem for the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect, you're going to get all 3 of those wrong because the third principal part is dedi, and the perfect stem is dead, D-E-D. So make sure you know the principal parts, especially for irregular verbs like sum. So, amo, amare, amavi, amatus. As a basic overview, these, the present, imperfect, and future, are going to come from the present stem. You already know that. Chop the RE off of the second principal part to get the present stem ama. And that's going to go right here pretty much. And then the perfect stem is used for these tenses, the perfect, the pluperfect, and the future perfect. So third principal part minus the I. However, be careful. If you're dealing with a first person singular, don't forget that lowly first principal part. He's number 1. He's there first. His only job is to go right here if you're doing a synopsis of the first person singular. So we are. Put amo right there. His only job, amo, the first principal part, is to go right there, amo. How do we translate amo into English? Well, I, first person singular. I love, I am loving, I do love. I love corresponding to English's simple past or simple present, and I am loving corresponding to English's continuous present. The imperfect tense now use the present stem. Go to the second principal part, chop off the RE, and get the present stem ama. Go ahead and fill in the present stem for the future tense, ama. It uses the same second principal part, chop off the RE, ama, present stem. The only reason we don't use it in the present tense in this one is because the verb is first person singular. If it weren't first person singular, we would be putting the present stem here, just like the imperfect and the future. So for the imperfect, add the tense marker ba. Then the personal ending for the first person singular, which is m. So amabam. How do we translate amabam? Well, the imperfect corresponds to English's continuous past. So I was loving. I used to love. It happened over and over again in the past. It was a continuous ongoing action in the past. That's why we use the present stem, the continuous action stem. Then the future tense, the endings are bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitus, bunt. So watch out for that first person singular bo, amabo, Obama spelled backwards, amabo. So first person singular future, I will love. You can also exchange will for shall, I shall love. It's an action which will happen in the future, an ongoing progressive action in the future. So these guys, the continuous action tenses, show ongoing actions in the present, in the past, and the future. Whereas the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect tenses from the third principal part, chop off the I, perfect stem amab, they show actions which are perfect, completed, done in the present or past, the past, and then the future. So amawi, the perfect tenses, personal endings are I isti it, imus istis erunt. So we have amawi. Remember, there are a couple different translations for the perfect tense. English's simple past, I loved. Or we could say English's present completed, I have loved. I find this is the best way to write it. I, parentheses, have loved. So you know it's either I loved or I have loved. Remember, in most languages, those are two separate tenses, but the Romans felt like they could merge them together into one. And I think at some point later on realized their mistake. Oh well. The pluperfect tense marker is era, add the eram. I had loved. I had loved. And the helping verb is always had. And the future perfect, ero, eris, eret, erimus, eritis, erent. We have ero, amavero, I will have loved. So here's the first person singular, I, forms for all of Latin's tenses, present, imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. Amo, amabam, amabo, amawi, amawaram, amawaro. It's just the first person singular for all the tenses. This, gentlemen, is a synopsis. Let's move on to do, dare, dedi, datus. I gave you another first person singular. Don't get tripped up. You need to know the principal parts. If this is first person singular, do, a deer, a female deer, goes right here. So do, D-O, do. Translation, I give, I am giving, I do give. For the imperfect in the future, go to the second principal part and chop off the R-E, da, Russian and Romanian for yes, da, D-A. So da, and then add bomb, da bomb. I was giving, I used to give. The future will be dabo, dabo, I will give, I shall give. Now for the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect, third principal part is dead D, not dawi, dead D. Chop off the I. The perfect stem is dead, D-E-D, dead. So add personal endings for the perfect, which are I isti it, imus istis erunt. We have dead D, dead D. I gave, I have given. Pluperfect, dederam, dederam, I had given. And the future perfect, dedero, I will have given. Optime. Cogito, cogitare, cogitavi, cogitatus, to think. We want the second person singular, so no more first person singular. We want second person singular for all of these, so there will be a lot of yous and thous in your English translation. So for the present, imperfect, and future, use the present stem, and really use the present stem. We only use the first principal part when we're giving a first person singular. We're giving second person singular. So go to the second principal part, chop off the RE, write cogita in the blanks for the present, imperfect, and future, and then add the appropriate tense markers and personal endings. So the present is cogitas. You think. You are thinking. You do think. The imperfect, cogitabas. You were thinking. You used to think. Cogitabis. You will think, or you shall think. Cogitate. For the completed action tenses, the perfect, the pluperfect, and the future perfect, go to the verb's third principal part and chop off the I. Cogitab. and then add the appropriate tense markers. And personal endings. So for the perfect, the personal endings are isti it, imus istis erunt. So cogitavisti. You thought. Don't say thinked. You thought. You have thought. Pluperfect, cogitaveras. You had thought. And the future perfect, cogitaveris. You will have thought. Ottime. Porta, portare, portavi, portatus. Third person singular. So we want the third person singular for all of these Latin verb forms. A lot of he's, she's, and itses in these English translations, all the way down. So present, imperfect, and future form from the present stem. Second principal part, chop off the re. Write porta, porta for all the blanks. Then add the appropriate tense markers and personal endings. For the present, you're going to have portat, portat. He, she, it carries. He, she, it is carrying. He, she, it does carry. The imperfect, portabat, portabat. He, she, it was carrying. He, she, it used to carry. Portabit. He, she, it will carry. He, she, it shall carry. For the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect, we want the perfect stem. Go to the third principal part, chop off the I to get portav, and then add the appropriate tense markers and personal endings. So third person singular. The perfect the perfect personal endings are isti it, imus istis erunt. Make sure you say those over and over again so you know them. Isti it, imus istis erunt. So portavit, portavit. He, she, it carried. He, she, it has, H-A-S, has carried. Pluperfect, portaverat. He, she, it had carried. Portaverit. He, she, it will have carried. For oppugno, oppugnare, oppugnavi, oppugnatus, it's first person plural. Now we're in the plurals. So we want the first person plural for all these Latin forms. And each of our English translations will have the pronoun we, first person plural. So present stem, oppugna, oppugnamus, oppugnamus. We attack. We are attacking. We do attack. Oppugnabamus, oppugnabamus. We were attacking. We used to attack. Future is oppugnabimus, oppugnabimus, oppugnabimus. We will attack. We shall attack. The perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect use the perfect stem, oppugnav, oppugnav, chop off the I. Oppugnavimus, oppugnavimus. We attacked. We have attacked. You could also say we did attack. We did do that thing. Pluperfect, oppugnaveramus, oppugnaveramus. We had attacked. And the future perfect, oppugnaverimus, oppugnaverimus. We will have attacked. For second person plural of vulnera, vulnerare, vulneravi, vulneratus, to wound, our English translations should all have the personal pronoun ye or y'all or you plural. So present stem, vulnera. Second person plural, vulneratis. Ye wound. Y'all are wounding. You plural do wound. Imperfect, vulnerabatis. Vulnerabatis. Ye were wounding. Ye used to wound. Y'all kept on wounding. The future, vulnerabitis, vulnerabitis, vulnerabitis. Ye will wound. Y'all shall wound. The perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect, perfect stem, vulnerab, and then the appropriate tense markers and endings. The personal endings for the perfect tense are isti it, imus istis erunt. So istis. Vulneravistis. Vulneravistis. Ye wounded. Y'all have wounded. Ye did wound. For the pluperfect, vulneraveratis. Vulneraveratis. Ye had wounded. Y'all had wounded. Future perfect, vulneraveritas. Vulneraveritas. Ye will have wounded. Y'all shall have wounded. Optime, and third plural, the dreaded, sum esse fui futurus. What do you mean dreaded? He's actually your best friend, your irregular friend. Sum esse fui futurus, to be. So, the present stem is, yeah, don't do that. It's irregular. So, in the third person plural, the English personal pronouns are going to be they. Present stem, yeah, don't do that. This is irregular. So make sure you know those verb forms by heart. The present is sum, es, est. Sumus estis, sunt, right? Sunt. They are. They are being. Imperfect, you have to memorize it. Eram, eras, erat. Eramus, eratis, erant. It's the endings for the pluperfect. So we want erant, third plural. They were. They used to be. They kept on being. For the future, the endings are, the forms are ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erunt, erunt, E-R-U-N-T. So we want erunt. They will be. They shall be. For the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect, now this is totally normal and regular. Go to the third principal part. Fui, chop off the I. Fu, I pity him. So we have fuerunt, fuerunt, isti it, imus istis erunt, fuerunt. They were / they have been. I often add the adverb once. They once were, which has a sense of once upon a time this was so, but now it no longer is, because remember the perfect is a completed action. Pluperfect, fuerant, fuerant. They had been, and then the future perfect is fuerent, fuerent. They will have been. Optime, very well done. Make sure you review these verb forms. Make sure you know how to synopsize. You will have to synopsize for the rest of your Latin career. It will never, ever leave you. Optime, valete omnes.